lifting up Jesus, opening His Word from Australia, Denmark, Israel, Japan, New Zealand, Northern Ireland, Republic of Ireland, Singapore, South Africa, United Kingdom, Thailand, the Philippines, United States, and throughout the world. You're watching Moriel TV. Hi, this is Tim Worth of Moriel TV and Moriel Radio, here via Skype with Jacob Prasch, who's live in England. Jacob, one of the believers had the question, and it's kind of about pre-wrath, inter-trib, post-wrath. What's the point of the church being here if unsaved Gentiles are no longer convicted of sin? And are we to still preach the gospel?
Remember, that period when the Holy Spirit stops restraining until the day of Pentecost, that period teaches about the period at the end of the age, corresponding to what happened between the Ascension and Pentecost. Work while you have the light. Night will come, no man can work. In order to understand this period, from when the Holy Spirit stops restraining the Antichrist, or the power of Satan that will be manifested and incarnated in the Antichrist, and the rapture, that period, we have to understand its first century counterpart, that period between the ascension of Jesus and the day of Pentecost. Remember, in the first century, Jesus was raptured and sent the Spirit. In the last century, the Spirit stops restraining and sends Jesus, then there's the rapture. It's the opposite. It reverses that particular period. Well, what took place in that period between the ascension, the rapture of Jesus, and the day of Pentecost? The identification of the son of perdition. They knew who Judas was, and they knew what to do about it. The first thing that's going to happen in that period is the faithful church at that point will have absolutely no question and no doubt as to who the Antichrist is and to know what to do about it. That's the first thing. The second thing, they were waiting. They had no power. They couldn't preach the gospel until the Spirit was poured out. We are told, work while you have the light. Night will come, no man can work. There will be a very difficult period called the shattering of the people, of the power of the holy people. The church will have become so worldly and so corrupted. Persecution becomes a necessary evil to sort out the faithful bride from the harlot church. The church will have become so corrupted with the world and so heretical, even apostate, even people claiming to be evangelical, as we see today, holding apostate beliefs, that persecution will become a necessary evil. This will be the last chance for the bride to get ready. He's coming for a spotless bride. It's not about the world. It's about us. Now, this is not to say that the message of Jesus will not continue after this point. But what it is to say is God turns his redemptive or salvific purposes primarily back to dealing with Israel and the Jews at that time. In fact, this will be the subject of one of our forthcoming books, No Balm in Gilead, What Really Happens After the Rapture. It's not to say things will not be happening, but it is to say that the work of the church per se will be done. Why is the church still here? The church will not be here. Once the Spirit no longer restrains, the church will no longer exist as a corporate entity. It'll be the way the 120 were before the day of Pentecost. It only existed embryonically before the day of Pentecost. The church as we know it was born on Pentecost. Don't confuse why are we here with why is the church here. The church will be finished. It will face dissolution. The church will not be here. Just the faithful people who are in it will be here, waiting to be rescued. God will leave them here for purposes of preparing them for the coming of Jesus. They will know his coming is extremely imminent, and he's giving them time to get ready to meet him. If you were diagnosed pre-terminal as a Christian, God forbid, but if you were, and you were told you had 6 months to live, hypothetically, I guarantee you those 6 months would be the closest time of you having a relationship with Jesus that you've ever had since the day you were first saved. You'd be praying, you'd be in his word, you'd be talking to him, you'd be ready to meet him, you'd be asking him to deal with every wrong thing in your life if you knew within 6 months he was coming for you. Well, that's what's going to happen to the church at that period. We are going to know he's coming for us. It's time for the bride to get scrubbed and ready. That's why it is going to happen that way. My name is Jacob Prasch. God bless.